Hi there, everybody. This is Mirabai from Circle Creative Collective. Today, I'm going to be guiding you through the process of needle felting your very own little gnome using the Circle Creative Collective needle felting kit. So let's get started. These are some friends that I've made using our kit. And these are some friends that you can create in your own way. So needle felting is a really beautiful art that's found in many different cultures around the world. And it's very approachable. To begin, there's not a lot of materials that you need to create really beautiful pieces of artwork and gifts and all kinds of wonderful examples of beauty. So first I'm going to start by just guiding you through what's inside of the kit. So inside of the kit, we have 4 different colors along with a nice plain white. And along with that, it comes with a needle felting pad and 3 needle felting needles. So we're first going to start by taking our needle felting pad, and you can remove the needles and place them in your box for safekeeping. We're just going to use one. And we're first going to start our gnomes by creating the body. So I'm going to choose a color that I like from the kit for the body. So let's see. I think I'm gonna go with this green. And for the hat, I think it's gonna have a purple hat. And the beautiful thing about making these gnomes, but creating in general, I find, is that we can have an idea, we can have a basic understanding and idea, especially when we're beginning, of what we're wanting to make. And as we go, the creation becomes itself and it guides the process. So I knew that I wanted to start with these few colors when I was beginning, but I didn't know the personality that would come out until I was in the active process of making. So that's what we're going to do today. And that's what you can do too at home with your friends. You can all get a kit and play together. We love to make these around the holidays and hang them on, little string and hang them around the house or on a tree. But they're so fun any time of the year. Great birthday gift or whatever you can think of, really. Then we'll learn the basics of these gnomes, and then you can create all kinds of beautiful creatures and shapes and items. So we're first going to start with our green body. So if you notice, this is called wool roving, and it's combed in a way so that all of the fibers are moving in the same direction. They're all lined up. There are other forms of wool where they will not be as organized, let's say. But we in the kit have kept it very we wanted to keep it really easy. So we're going to start by just pulling this apart and separating the wool. So I just pulled it into two. So you can make multiple gnomes for sure with this kit. You can also make mushrooms or a bird or all kinds of different beings. So I have this nice long piece of wool. I'm gonna move this to the side. And so for the body, if you look, it's really just a coiled piece of this wool. And what needle felting is using this needle that has barbs on it. And what we're doing is as we are moving the needle up and down through the fiber, it's tangling the hair. And as you go more and more, it's going to become more firm and more firm, because now it's very, very soft. It's very soft. You can do all kinds of things with it. But as we go, it's going to get more firm and more firm. So we're going to start by just making a little roll up of the wool. And if you are really getting into this as a hobby, you can use a different color core that's maybe, just a little less quality. Even you could use the white that's in the kit as your core and then wrap the color around it. But for simplicity, I think for the beginning, it's really nice just to keep it simple and to just go ahead with the one color, because we're learning, so we can use plenty of material. So see how I'm just tightly kind of tucking it in and rolling. And when it starts to splay out towards the side, I begin to kind of tuck that in. And once I have a nice little roll, I'm going to hold it in place by beginning to needle felt. So all it is this poking motion over and over and over again. And it's a whole lot of poking, and it becomes very meditative because there's not a lot going on. So you can just kind of get out of your head and into your hands. And that's what we're all about here at Circle. So I have the beginning, and now I'm just going to keep rolling. That was just really to hold it in place as I continue to roll up. And now I'm starting to think about, okay, how tall do I want this body to be? How big? Do I want it to be, a little bit more short and stout? I think I do. So I'm just gonna tuck that hair in a little bit so that it's staying nice and tight. And tightly rolling it up. So I'm at a point where I'm feeling like I rolled it a good amount of times, and I just want to hold it in place before I keep rolling it up. When you're needle felting, it's always a good idea to keep your project moving around so that as I'm poking into the pad, which is just a foam pad with a felt cover over it, it's not going to stick into the pad. And I'll show you a bit of a better example in a little bit. But just to keep that in mind as we're beginning, so that it doesn't stick, so that the fibers aren't getting entangled with the pad and separating from the object. So now I'm ready to keep rolling it a little bit. It's like a sleeping bag when you go out camping and you're packing it up. You roll that sleeping bag nice and tight. And come to the end of my felt there. My wool. So wool becomes felted when the hairs become entangled and they become more of a solid object. So we might have, you know, felted sweaters or blankets, and was made from loose fiber of wool coming together to create something that was a little bit more solid in shape through the process of either wet felting or needle felting most of the time. So I'm gonna make a mini gnome today. A sweet baby to go along with a sweet child to go along with the older folks here. So now I'm thinking about shaping it. And this becomes, as you'll see, as you're going, it's like second nature in a way. Once we start sculpting something and we have our idea of, oh, I want to see it kind of move in that way, we use the needle to shape the wool. So, oh, I want to make it, you know, maybe a little bit more squished down here. It feels a little loose, so let me squish it down at the top. And always be aware of not stopping your fingers. I've done that a few times, and it's not the best. We've had workshops where we've needed a few Band-Aids. And it's not the worst, but it's nice to just stay aware and focused and present. You know, it's not an object to do and look away. Like sometimes people can knit and look at something else, but this needs your attention, your eyes' attention. So I'm feeling good about that body. And as I go, I'll probably felt it a little bit more, but it's much more firm than when we began. So now we're going to move on to the hat. So I have my body here. I'm going to set him off to the side. I'm going to take the color, whatever color I would like for the hat, and I'm going to pull apart another piece from the wool. And I'm going to start separating it. This is going to be a little different. So the way I like to make my hats is by slightly creating the shape with the wool. And then we'll roll it up into a hat. So I'm gonna start by lightly creating a triangle. And when I feel like I've found the good shape, I'm gonna pull on the wool so that it separates. So if I tried to pull my wool here, it wouldn't separate, no matter how hard I tried. It just wouldn't, because the length of the hair wouldn't be coming apart. But if I'm pulling it from farther apart, voila, there goes that piece. I'll set that off to the side and come back to that, kind of lightly creating a triangle shape. And I think I can even take a little bit more off. And what's going to happen, just like in the beginning when we rolled up our body, is it's going to shrink a lot. So it might look really big, but what's going to happen is I'm going to create a triangle shape, and then we're going to fold it and create a little seam for the hat. Roll it into a little hat. So what I actually do like to do is add a little bit of filling. So it's nice, so I can't see through. See, I can kind of see through that a little bit. You can see my hand under there. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of extra wool to fill it out. So I feel nice and full. That looks much better. Good, good, good. And at the top, that's fine, because I like this little look of it kind of tapering off to a little point like that. So now I'm going to start to outline a little triangle shape. So there's one side. Here's another. And then here's another. Here's the bottom. So it's just very light. And it's just going to help us fold in the sides. So it's a nice clear shape. But before I do that, I'm going to pull my whole project up, because what's happening is, see, it's starting to stick to the pad. So I don't want it to get fully embedded into this felt, which it totally could. I could create a whole design just on here and leave it there. But that's not what we're doing today. So I'm going to take that up, and then on those lines where I just poked, I'm going to fold in. And I'm going to just kind of lightly bring those in. Folding. We folded the sides and now we have a nice clean edge, and then we're gonna fold the bottom up and in. There's the sun. And there's so many different ways that you can create shapes. This is just one way. This is one way that has worked for me. And I invite you, again, I'm pulling up from the pad so it's not getting stuck. I invite you to experiment. Once you make this, or and also in the process of making this, experiment with what feels intuitive to you, because there's a wisdom that lives in our hands, especially when we start making. So, another way I could have done this is just by rolling it into more of a cone shape, just like we did the body. But I find that this is a really easeful way for me to create the hat. So, now we're going to fold this over. And the more that we needle felt, the more that we poke, the firmer it gets, and the harder it is to attach, entangle more hair, let's say. So I've kept this very soft still. It's very pliable. It's very, I can really still manipulate it. So I just did a light needle felting there. We've got this nice triangle, and now I'm going to fold it over. Now I'm kind of bringing that, so it's like a little seam, like we're sewing. Just a little seam over the edge there. And then on that edge, I'm just going to begin to stitch them in a way together. And so one thing to keep in mind is that we're going to keep the base of the hat open. But as we're going now, we can start to needle felt this all together. But we want to keep this lower portion apart so that it can fit onto the body. So it looks a little funny right now, and that's totally okay because this is going to shrink a lot. This is basically it's very close to this still. So as we go, it's going to get smaller and smaller and shrink in a good way. So let's go ahead. And every so often, especially during this part, picking up the project so it's not sticking. I do it, every 3 seconds really. Just kind of rolling around. I'm gonna move up here a little. And what's actually really nice to do in this beginning part is to roll it, twist it like in your hands a little, like you're making a coil of clay. So you're just giving it a shape. You're giving it an idea of what it's going to become. You're giving the wool an idea of what it's going to become. See, even that is so much more sculpted. Okay. So see, it's really smushing down, and that's very good because There's a lot of air, there's a lot of space in between all of the hairs still. So we want that smushing and entangling so it can become nice and firm and shaped. And I keep rolling it also, not only to not get it stuck to the pad underneath, but because this is in the round. So this is a 3D object. So we wanna make sure that it's not just flattening out in one direction, but that it's nice and full in every direction. Hopefully we can live our lives like that. Full in a good way in every direction. So see how much that shrunk in? That seam is still visible, and as we keep going, it's gonna disappear more and more. So I'm gonna focus on that a little bit. And you know what? I'm feeling like I might even add a little extra wool right inside there because that's a big hat. So it's going to be a tall hat, but I just want to give it a little bit more body. I'm just going to take a little bit more wool and I'm going to poke it up into there. That's a little bit much. Plop it in there. That's good. So it's looking like we're gonna have a nice brim for this hat, which I'm very excited about. I love making little brims for the hat. And here I'm gonna make it just a little bit smaller by taking the needle and kind of pulling and tucking. And that's a really great way to shape any sort of edge that you're working with. These gnomes bring me so much joy. I make a lot of them as gifts in the winter. Little friends to keep us cozy and lighthearted in the colder, darker months. We need those little reminders. I keep them around the house. I put them in some house plants and different areas, and they are just such fun gifts. They make the inner child so happy. How fun. And like I said in the beginning, these beings, the hat, it becomes its own creature. And now I'm just following the wool. I'm following what the wool wants to become. And if I feel like it, you know, I could go back and I could add a little bit more to the body, which I totally might. But we're gonna see, we're gonna keep working on this hat. Every time I make one of these, it's different. Just like every time you make yours, yours is gonna be different than mine. So sometimes when I'm forming the top of the hat, I take a little water, liquid of some sort, and that helps give me a little bit of traction to start to twist and shape, which is really what wet felting is. I like to use my hands as a little helper for the shaping. Especially when it's like a softer wool like this is. It's nice to give it a little bit of body. Okay, keep going here. Because I'm wanting to bring this shape in a little bit, I'm directing the needle inwards. So wherever you're directing the needle is where the shape is gonna take. You're directing the shape. I'm gonna add a little bit more into that inside of the hat. And yours totally might not need this, depending on how thick you made your triangle. Mine was a little light, so I'm just wanting to fill it out. So you can always add more. And I also want to keep in mind that I don't want to felt this too much before I attach it to the body. So once I feel like I've got a good general shape, I'm gonna take a moment to see how it fits. And I think I am going to add a little bit more body to this base here. A little bit more fullness to the body. So I'm bringing my green, gonna separate piece going with the direction of the hair. I'll set this to the side. Now I'm just gonna make him a little bit more plump. So look at the direction I was rolling before. I can still see that a little bit. Doesn't really matter, but it's nice. And just place it. And I'll keep rolling just like in the beginning. I'm gonna separate these a little wider so it goes around the whole thing. And once I've rolled it once or twice around, to hold it in place just like before. I'm gonna just secure it with my needle. And he's already getting plumper. He's eating a good, he ate a nice good meal. Keep on rolling. Separating these. So it's the same width. I'm separating a little bit. There we go. Nice. And I think I might just use the whole strip. I think that's gonna feel great. Yes, I'm gonna go all the way. And this is where we just get to create our own creative intuition, and our own play. This is really all about play and enjoying yourself and creating beauty. I think the world needs, can use any of that it can get. There's so much happening in the world. It's so nice to, it's such a gift to have time and space to just create some beauty. And if this is a gift for someone, or if this is a gift for yourself, you can add your little wishes or intentions while you're making, you know. You can think about the person that you're making it for and what you love about them. If it's for your own home, what you want to bring into your home. What is this being symbolized to you? What does it mean to you? We have a great power as when we create objects, when we're crafting, when we're making art, when we're making food, anything. We have a great power that we can imbue that making with intention and with sweet wish. If it's for somebody who's maybe sick, or somebody you haven't seen in a while, just adding some of that love into here. Because I really do believe that there's something powerful in that. Oh, he is feeling much more plump and filled out and happy to have a little bit more life. He's nice and short and stout though still, and that's really wonderful. I really like that. He is gonna have a brim. So I'm gonna go ahead and attach the hat, the hat now to the base. And it looks a little funny until the end. Until we add the nose and a little bit of hair if we want. It's like, huh, it kind of looks like a gnome, but it's so simple that it could be a little house too, you know? So now we're gonna add the hat on. So all that is placing the hat on top. And now instead of, I mean, I could go this way, yep. But I like to kind of stand him up then. And attach like this, just like that, nice and easy, and kind of fitting the hat to him as we go. I have to say, everyone is unique. Every single gnome that I've made is very unique. And these can be nice and long, deep pokes. So we're entangling both the purple and the green now, the body and the hat. So nice and long so they get nice and attached. I am constantly, when I'm making these, just giggling to myself of how cute. Oh my God. How cute is that? He's so funny and cute. I love to watch you become. Going all around the hat. So there, look at that. He's on there, looking good. He's got a nice brim. So I'm gonna kind of strengthen that brim because it's still a little soft. So what I can do is kind of lay it down flat as I can on the mat. And go on. Poke on. It's very fun when you just need to kind of work some stuff out. You just go and poke. Go poke. And the rhythmic action to me is so, it's so meditative. It's such a, it gets you out of a very busy thinking mode and more into a relaxed state. Rhythm has that power. You find that with drumming, with sewing, anything that we're, you know, it's like again and again, like crocheting, knitting, you know, all these different things, they kind of put you into these meditative states. It's really beautiful. The power of creativity and repetition. The mind likes that, a little bit of simplicity. We have so many changes happening around us all the time. So this rhythmic action, wow, we're forming something, is pretty profound. And you don't have to make a brim on your hat. It's whatever you like. You can create your whole own shape. You can add a little belt around here, little ribbon. You can go, the sky's the limit. Once you learn this, you can add all kinds of details. Now I like to create this kind of shape that's a little bit, it puckers in towards the top. So I'm just gonna shape the body a little bit. The only reason I'm leaning it on leaning the brim on the mat is because I want that brim to stick out from the body. If I wanted it attached, I would be doing it on to the body, which is also a really fun look. And so you get to create your own hat now. We're little hat makers. Haberdashery. Gnome haberdashery. Okay. That's feeling good. So now I am going to add the nose. So the nose is the teeniest piece of, I'm going to take just a very small piece of your wool. So just pull out, maybe, what's this here? 1/4 inch wide strip. And you don't need much at all. So 3 inches maximum. And we're gonna do the same thing that we did for the body. Just kind of like to roll it and firm it up a little bit. So it all feels cohesive and one clear piece. Not too many fuzzies sticking out. I'm gonna start from one side. Fold in the tip and slowly start to roll. It's very small, so be patient with yourself. I have these nails that help me a lot. Just roll up. Rolling up. I think I want it a little bit bigger than that. A little bit wider, or thicker really. So, I'm gonna keep on rolling up. Maybe he'll have a nice big nose. So this is a very delicate part. This end part you can clip with a little scissor, or you can just wrap it around. I'm going to clip it for ease right now. Okay. So taking that nose, that roll up, just like here, same thing. I'm going to place it in the front. And it doesn't need to be perfect, because then we can shape it very, very much so once it's on. So I have it in the general area, and now I'm going to go for the very tip top and the edges, and I'm going to secure it in, see? So now it's attached there. It's not finished, but it's a little less precarious now that I've attached just a bit. Come to very tip top, so we're tucking it into the crease so you can't see where we're attaching it. And be careful of your fingers here. Oh, it ended up being such a cute little nose. Perfect. Now once I'm in there, I'm gonna really make sure that it's on tight, nice and good. Oh my goodness. So, that's a little gnome. And I might shape the hat a little bit more. I can add a little bit of facial hair. I could add a little beard if I wanted, or a mustache. I could add some hair. Maybe I'll add a little bit of hair just for fun. Just for fun. You can add a little bit of hair. You can add whatever you like. And so you have a basic idea. And now, so the whole idea is creating, you know, a simple shape when you're first getting your wool together. And then from there, shaping it with your needle. Gonna make him a little bit more stout. This big old hat. I can even, you know, I can curve this top of the hat a little bit more if I wanted. So it went to the side. Boop. And there you go. That's your little gnome. Your little gnome that you just needle felted with your kit. Here's his friends. They're all gonna go hang out in the forest. He's got a nice sun hat on, so he's, you know, he's good. He's not gonna get a sunburn or anything. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you enjoyed. Please leave a comment if you did. And Circle has needle felting workshops along with many other different kinds of workshops, traditional crafts and different arts. So you can check out our calendar on our website at in-circle.org, or just follow the link below. You can give us a follow on our social media, on Facebook and Instagram. And please, if you make any of these with the kit, please give us a shout out or a tag, because we love to see what people make with these kits. It brings us a lot of joy, and we hope to see you. We hope to see you soon. Have a beautiful day, beautiful evening.